Hello everyone, and welcome to today's event. We'll be starting off in a couple of minutes, just waiting for others to join. So, meanwhile, as we can interact, so come on, guys. What's the first thing? First, tell me how are you all feeling today? Being a holiday as well for all LPU people out here. Connection issue. Chilled. What about others? We have like 26 people here. You can all type it out in your chat box. Studying for MT exam. You guys are in which year? Like MT exams are over, I guess. First semester. That's nice. So, okay, guys. So, what's the first thing that you think an open source word would mean? Like today's event is all about open source. So, what do you think it will mean? Open to all, contributing, where everyone can contribute. Okay. Anything else you've got? Everyone can use. Yes, that is there. So when it comes to open source, we all have used some open source software or things that use open source in our everyday life. And after today's session, you'll get to know how it actually works, what exactly we do in open source, how to contribute, what to contribute, all these things. So, are you all excited? Yes, very much. That's great. And anyone here who has contributed in here open source previously, other than this Hacktoberfest thing, to any company's repo in third year, fourth year? There must be so many people. That's great. Okay, I guess we can begin the event. Suraj, if everything is set, I guess we can.
Yeah, we can proceed.
Yeah, over to you guys.
Hello guys, so we are finally going to start the event, and before doing that, let me get you through the first thing. And I'm Vaibhav, and I'm going to get you through the code of conduct or do's and don'ts of this event. So the first thing is be nice, be respectful, and be constructive while you interact over here, and do not post any adult content or rude or offensive statements because we are continuously moderating the chat. And please or promoting anything because this is not something we are doing over here. And the main thing that I used to make mistakes over here unknowingly, that do not spam the messages. Spamming in general will lead you to getting blocked, but even if you're posting one question twice or thrice, please be mindful of that. Please be assured that there are enough moderators that will answer your questions. But so once you post any question, please wait for some time, give them time to understand and answer your question. And harassment of any kind will not be tolerated over here, and if you fail to follow any code of conduct, you will be blocked from the chat environment. And if you find anything inappropriate, please report us to on gdsclpu at gmail.com. And I think this is enough about code of conduct. I've hindered the event a lot, so let's get started with the juice stuff.
So, hi everyone. My name is Neet Kaur Gill. As we have all gathered here to get knowledge about what is open source, Git, and GitHub. So, I think this is the right session to start with knowing what is open source and how to kickstart your journey in by contributing your first PR in our project, OpenWorld API. In a brief, open source is a source code which is freely available for and redistribution, whereas APIs are application interfaces which can be implemented in applications using JavaScript. We will about this all, and it is very good session also as they will about open source. Let's hear all this in detail from our speakers. Over to you, David.
A very good evening to you all. Hi, everyone. My name is David. Thank you, Navid, for the good intro. So here I'm going to talk about open source. So when we talk about open source, it's sort of like a social coding or a social project where everyone at all in the whole world can contribute to it. But it's on a steroid. For instance, when we take like your social media apps, you take maybe Instagram, WhatsApp, or Facebook. When you see a post, you might like it, so you want to reshare it. And during the reshare process, you can add some content to it, or maybe express your ideas, then you post it. So in the same way, that is how open source work. So open source, we have a number of applications that we interact with every day. For instance, with this browser that I'm using right now, Chrome, originated from Chromium, is an open source. We have Android, is also an open source, and we have Firefox, etc. So every day we have been interacting with open source. And with open source, one good thing is that you can stand on the shoulder of this giant, these big applications, and bring about your innovative new ideas. Okay, here what I'm saying is that with this, maybe we have Angular, for instance, as an open source. You can try and maybe modify some changes to Angular to bring about your own new big tech apps. So this is all about open source that I want to say. So thank you very much, guys. I'll hand over to Hardik to get us through Hacktoberfest.
So, hello everyone. It's been a long time since I've interacted with you all. So, as David about open source, then how can you forget about Hacktoberfest? It is one of the biggest open source program. So, how many of you know about Hacktoberfest? And if you have to define Hacktoberfest in 2 words, then how will you define it? Just tell me in the chat box, right? Yup, Hacktoberfest. Just define it in 2 or 1 word. Guys, are you motivated or not? Open source. Yup. See who is with us. Pavesh Mali. Okay, so anyways, Hacktoberfest is a long event challenge, 1 month long challenge, and it actually happens every year in the month of October. Yup. It's open source festival, right? So yeah, as I already said, it actually happens every year in the month of October. So it is actually an opportunity for all the newbies to create their first pull request in the open source world. So the question will arise how I can join them. So actually there are 4 simple steps that you have to follow, and one of them is very simple. You have to create GitHub or GitLab account, and the second step is yep. So the second step is you have to register yourself on the official website of Hacktoberfest, which is powered by presented by these 4 companies: DigitalOcean, Apprite, Intel, and DeepSource. So after you have registered yourself on Hacktoberfest website, then you have to find one project which you feel a worth for contributing. And after you find the okay, so after you find the best project for you to contribute to, then you have to create just 4 pull requests to it, and it will be all. So, and yes, how to get a swag kit? That's also a very good reason to join Hacktoberfest. So the rules for creating to get the swag kit is very simple. You have to create 4 pull request, a meaningful pull request to the repository which is labeled with Hacktoberfest or Hacktoberfest accepted, and that's all. And the cool thing about this that you can also opt for not to receive T-shirt and get not to receive T-shirt and actually get a tree planted by your name in the forest. So that it's a very cool thing. So that's all actually I have to say about Hacktoberfest, and I will see you later in the later part of this presentation. So over to you, David.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hardik. A wonderful intro about Oktoberfest. So I would like to ask the attendees here, have any one of you been using Git and GitHub? If you have been using Git and GitHub, kindly drop a yes in the channel. Let me see. Okay, oh wow. There are a number of you guys. That's great. That's great. Okay. So today here, I'm going to guide you guys through Git and GitHub. And some of the commands maybe you have already been using, but some are also new to you. So I would rather suggest you to maybe take a pen and a paper. You can jot down some commands that you feel like, oh, maybe this is new that can help me in my new app or a new project that you are doing. So let's get started, guys. So With this introduction to Git and GitHub, I've divided into 3 sessions for Git. We have source control, Git, and then GitHub. So let's jump into it. So first of all, VCS. What's the full form of VCS? I guess you guys know already. Yeah, VCS stands for version control system. So before we jump into Git, we have to know what is a version control system. It's a way that we manage files and directories within our projects, and we track changes over time. Bear with me for those who have been maybe doing a development on VS Code or any other editor. When you make a changes, you see that, okay, this is what I've made, and this is the previous changes on all those tasks. All these are managed by version control system, that is VCS, and we can recall previous versions. So source control falls under VCS. So move on to the next slide and let's see. Okay, so with a history of source control, it's actually started way back since 1972. That is, at that time, it was closed source, not open source, and it's part of Unix. So it was being managed with a tool called Bitkeeper, but it wasn't really successful. So what Linus Torvalds decided what he wanted to create maybe a Git version, an improved version to replace this Bitkeeper version, so that anyone at all can use it, and it will be in the distributed form. So let's move on to the next slide. Yes, so this is where the Bitkeeper came in. It was very successful, but it wasn't enough until our huge father of Git, Linus Torvalds, was able to bring about this Git with Linux to help manage Linux kernel system. Yes. Next slide, please. Okay, good. So right now we are going to talk about Git. So can you any of us give me a definition of Git? What do you think is Git? Yeah. And also I have one question for the attendees. When we talk about Git and GitHub, what's the differences? What is Git actually? Yeah, okay, we have Subham Nandi here saying it's VCS, yeah, version control system. Anyone else? Okay. It's free and open source. Okay, very good. That's Shubhadeep Mandal. Okay, good. A software that provides control over code flow. Okay, very good. We will see very soon. Yeah. So, yeah, very good. So to talk about Git, it was originally created by Linus Torvalds. That is way back in April 2005 in April. As I said, it was a replacement for a Bitkeeper in order to manage Linux kernel changes. We have one command line, version control, that we can track changes in our program, in our project. And it uses checksums to ensure data integrity. For some of you, you guys might know that we use a SHA-1 algorithm to handle Git and all those things. And Git is also distributed version control. When we talk about distributed version control, first of all, distributed, as you guys may know, that is maybe multiple people distributed across different geographical locations. And although it's distributed, all of these people can work on one single project. We don't need to connect to a central server. That's one good thing. And it's also cross-platform, including Windows, Linux, and macOS as well. And it's open source, free. So thanks to Linus Torvalds, we are able to use this thing to create better projects. So to talk about the popularity of Git, it's since 2009 to 2013, it has had a percentage growth over 34%. It has been able to replace Bitkeeper successfully, and also bring about great changes that enables every developer around the world to work on their own projects. Next slide, please. Okay, so right now, as I explained before, for Git distributed version control, since it's distributed, we don't need to connect to a central server. Everyone can sit at their comfortable zone remotely work on one single project. We can work without internet connection. As you guys may have noticed, when you don't have internet connection and you try to make a git add or maybe git commit, it still works. Yeah, because it doesn't need internet connection and there's no single failure point. Every developer, we can work independently and merge our work. And every copy of this Git repository can serve either as a server or as a client. We can track our changes, modify, go back to previous version, and continue to work on the project. Next slide, please. Okay, so right now you might ask yourself, is Git for me? Maybe for those who have never used Git before, what is Git? Is it really going to help me create a better project? Yes, I'll give you a confident answer that is yes. We work on Git to track our changes, to review our history. Maybe someone wants to, what's it called? Know that, okay, this is the first version of the code, second version, and we can show all these things by using Git. And we use to also share to other people, other developers, the work that you have done using Git. Next slide, please. Okay, these are some of the languages that are being handled under Git. So as you can see, we have a number of them here. First of all, HTML, CSS, JavaScript as traditional web development languages and backend languages, Python, ASP, Scala, PHP. In fact, Git supports majority of the languages, and that is why it's so widely used and it's developing at a very, very, very fast pace. So we would like to, yep. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, good. So how do we get Git? I wish I could show you how, share my screen and show you how to download Git, but it's very easy. As you can see, we have this HTTPS URL link there. So simply just get to git-scm and you'll be able to install Git onto your system. Very good. Yeah, this is the live demo. Yeah. And this is where you can, either you are using Mac OS, Windows, Linux, Unix, is cross-platform. Yeah. Okay, great. So in case any one of you is facing challenges, kindly drop a message in the chat box so that we can help you out during your installation. Okay, let's move ahead. Yeah. So downloading Git, it might take a little bit of while, but okay. Okay, it's done. So this is the installation UI. As you can see, we'll go with next, extracting files. Yeah, very good vibe. Thank you so much. So this is the command to install from your command line or from your, yeah, for Linux installation, sudo apt install git-o. Thank you, Vibe. Okay, good. So right now, let's move on. So when we talk about repo, so the full form of repo, as you guys may know, is a repository, and each repository manages a single project. And in each repo, we have the files, folders of our code or of our. For instance, you have a web dev project. For inside, you have index.html, CSS, and then you have your images folder. So all these ones comes under one project in one single repo. Next, please. Yeah. Okay, good. So the reason why Git have been able to stand out and make a very fast pace of development is because of its architecture. So before I jump into Git, I would like to show you how other version control systems work. Okay, for other version control systems, they only follow a two-tier architecture, or you can say two-tree architecture. That is, during your work, you simply make git commit. It commits directly into the repository. And also during your pull request or git checkout, it's pulled directly into your repo without giving you any staging or merge and all those things. Then let's look at git architecture. For Git architecture, as guys can see here, it's having a three-layer or a three-tree architecture. We start by working, and during your working, you command git add. All your files changes will be staged into the staging area, and each one of them will be managed by an index. So staging index is present, but in other version control system, we don't have this staging index. Then from the staging index, we make git commit, then it will be pushed into our repository. Sorry. Yeah. So let's move on, please. Okay. So here, as you guys can see, this is a simple Git workflow. When you create your new project and you initialize a new repo, maybe from GitHub or other version control, other a repo, online repo, we first start by doing git init to initialize it. Then we do git add dot. Git add dot, what actually do is that it adds all your files into the staging area. Then we do git commit by adding a message to it to track, okay, this is what I've done to my changes. Yeah, good. And after initializing the new git repo, this is what the stages we'll be following. First, we start by one, making changes on your code. Two, you add the changes by using git add dot. Add dot means add, or you can add some of the files. We'll demonstrate all these very soon in the practical session. And then we have the last step, that is you do git changes with a message. Okay, next slide. Okay, so a note about git commit messages. From here, we have some good practices, some things that you guys need to, I think you guys have to know, or you guys may not know, you want to jot down. For git messages, we should not exceed maximum of 72 characters. And if you guys have been using VS Code a lot, you can see that when you are making more messages, it actually tells you that you have exceeded number of characters. Yeah, and then git messages should be in the form of present tense. It should not be in any other tense as well. Next one, please. Yeah, and we have some good and bad examples. For instance, when you are committing a message and you just simply give it a message as typo fix, for the next time, maybe after maybe 10 days or 15 days, you come and check, you might not understand, okay, what is this typo fix? It's too broad. You don't know which particular thing it is. So a good way of is adding missing slash in CSS section. Be precise if what actually changes you have done in your project. And also during Git staging, try to track only small changes. Don't push large changes at the same time. All these will demonstrate very soon. Okay, as you can see, another bad example, git commit -m fix login bug, which is also not very precise. Next, please. Okay, to see what was done, that means git log. Git log is a way to see the history of your changes that you have done to your project. So simply by doing git log, as you can see from the first line of the command, and you will be able to see that, okay, all these messages track the changes that I've done to my project. Okay, we will compile all these commands in one single file and share it with you guys very soon. But right now, let's move ahead. So as I said, Git using SHA-1 algorithm to manage changes. And then we have something called pointer. Whenever you make a changes, it generates a key, sort of a key or a staging index, and that one points to your head as your main branch. And as you move ahead, you make new changes. This pointer keep moving forward. Yeah. And the head always points to the tip of the currently checked out branch in the repo. And then the head points to the parent of the next commit, where you are writing the next commit take place. Okay, as you guys can see here, you see the head pointer is actually pointing to your last commit. And then if you have maybe a separate branch other than your master branch, these are you might want to merge the two, which will be demonstrated later, but your head is always pointed to your last commit of your master branch or the current working branch you're working on. Okay, and git status. Git status is where we see where files, or we see all the files that we have done make changes to. For instance, as illustrated here, we have modified file text. You do a git add and you do a git commit. So afterwards, then you come and do a git status. As you can see, all those things changes that you have done on your project. Next one, please. Okay, git diff. Very diff. Diff simply means differences. Git diff is simply just to let you compare the changes you have made between maybe two files. For instance, you click on, you check on git, you made a comment, you made, what's it called? You type in git diff and you'll be able to see, okay, maybe I removed this line, I added this line. And all these things, if you're using VS Code, it will be in a GUI form that some will be showing red, some will be showing green. Okay, so these are the differences that you have made. You remove this, you add this, and all those things. Okay, and git RM. RM simply means remove. So you want to maybe delete files from your repo, simply use git remove. And we also have git mv. I think it's showing the next slide. Let's move on. Okay, yeah, this is for deleting. Yeah, git move. So git move mv simply used to rename files. After you guys maybe made basic commands of Linux, git mv is simply to rename the files maybe from file 1 to file 2. So this is the syntax: git mv file 1 name.txt, then you rename to your new one as file 1 2.txt. Yeah. So as all these commands being said, luckily we have only a few that we are using frequently, and these are all these things that I've listed below. So git init, git status, log, add, commit, diff, rm, and mv. So a very quick question: what is git rm do to the attendees? Git rm stands for RM simply means, yeah, very good, remove, very, very good. Okay, so that means that we want to delete files from our repo. Okay, what about git mv? MV. Very good, Vibe. Yep, I think we have more answers here. MV, rename or move. Yeah, that's great, that's great. So these are the few commands that we have here that we use frequently. Other ones are there, git branch, stash, and all those things. We'll jump into them later. So let's move on. Okay, so what if I want to undo changes made with a working directory? Maybe I made a mistake and I've already pushed the code. So what do? So I do git checkout. So git checkout will simply just grab the file from the repo, or it will just undo your changes, sort of a rollback. Yeah. So for example, we can do git checkout -- file1.txt, which means that it will just remove the file1.txt changes that we have made back into your current working branch for you to make new changes. Yeah. Okay, good. And if I want to undo changes added in the staging area, so for instance, you have done a git add a file name, or you have done a git add dot, and you want to redo the changes from the staging area, pull them back from the staging area, we can use git reset, that is head filename.txt. So all these commands are there. You can be having a note of them, but we'll also share you a compiled list of all of them so that you can keep with you as a git cheat sheet. Yeah. And this is git commit. As you guys can see, we commit to amend the change to the last commit. So anything in the staging area, by doing a git commit, it will be pushed into the repo. No, it will be added into the staging area. So anything is staging, okay, it will be amended to the last commit before we do a git push. Yep. Okay, so these are a very nice representation of how we undo a changes and we're making a new comment. Yeah, as you guys can see. So we have different parent. The reason why they are parent is uh, they are predecessors and successors. So when you are working on the current branch or current um, area, the head pointer will always point to it. So for instance, if you can see, we added apple and it's having a certain index, as we say, a staging index. Then we added plum, that is another index key. Then we added apple again, which will give you a new. So that means that these two staging index are very unique and they will not conflict with each other. And as said, our head pointer would always point to the last commit before we make a new commit. Yeah. Okay. To obtain earlier versions of Git, as we all know that Git is a version control system, so definitely we can use it to manage our different versions. So in order to obtain your older version, maybe you have a version one of your app, version 2, you want to obtain the earlier version, you just use Git checkout. Yeah. Okay. And this is another command for Git checkout. Yes. So to see what files are in your repo, we simply use git ls-tree, tree-ish, and tree-ish is simply a way to reference a repo. As we can see, Git using the SHA algorithm, full SHA, partial, head, and others. So to see all the files listed in your repo, you just need to, on the command line interface, type git ls-tree. You can see all the files in your repo. Okay, and branching. Okay, branching is a very beautiful way for us to maybe bring out innovative ideas to your project. For instance, you started with a way of building your UI or maybe writing your code, and then all of a sudden a new idea came into your mind. So what you want to do is that we want to create a separate branch so that you can push that new idea onto that branch. So you would then compare this branch with this branch. So, okay, which one is better? Okay, this one is nicer. So you can simply merge this branch into your main branch as one. So Git branch allow us to try new ideas, new innovative ideas. So maybe if one idea doesn't work, the branch that I've created, I can simply just discard it. As you can see with this diagram, we simply have a tree with different leaves. Maybe this one looks brighter, nicer. Then fine, I'll merge it with this main branch, or I'll simply just discard it if it didn't work out successfully. But always remember that there's only one working directory. Okay, so this is an example of branching and merging. So as you guys can see here, the pointer where is pointed to the new branch. So this is the new branch that I created. Maybe I had a new idea today. So then I'll be checking in, okay, yeah, this new branch was nice. So I want to merge it with my main branch, my master branch. So what I'll do is that I'll simply finish all my files and then get a merging. And before you do the merging, always make sure to check your merge conflict to avoid any conflicts. So changes will be merged into one master branch on one working directory and to form your new master branch. Yeah. Yeah, this is also another, as I said before. So you can create multiple branches in your GitHub GitHub repo. As you can see, we have a nice feature. That means this part, okay, the feature was nice, and the next part very nice. So we simply merge them into one. Yes, please. And this is the 16 folks, 7 contributors to the master branch. Yeah, let's move on. Okay, so to check your branch, we simply use git branch. It will either show you you're on the master branch or it may be other branch that you created on your own. Okay, and then to create a new branch, simply use git branch, new branch name. New branch name will be the name of the branch you want to create. Yeah. I want us to move quickly with the theory section so that you guys can see with a live demo, which will be more interactive with you guys to know how you can put all these theory into practice very, very soon. So how do we switch? We just simply use git checkout. That is, you add a new branch name to switch that new branch. Yeah, comparing branches, as I can say, git diff. Then you add the first branch and second branch. And also to compare your new files, as said earlier, git diff. Then you can see all the changes you have done in a particular file. So to merge a branch, as I said, just simply do a git merge, but always make sure to check your merging conflicts. Yeah. So fast forward merge occurs when head of master is seen when looking back. And we also have recursive merge occurs by looking back and combining ancestors to resolve merge. And then this is where I've been advising all of us that we have to check our merging conflict. Merging conflicts arise when you make changes to the same file on two different branches, and when you are merging them. For instance, on the file one, I added apple, and on file two, on the same file one, on a different branch, I added banana. So when I'm merging the master branch with this new feature branch, it will arise a conflict will arise. That is, which one am I supposed to use? Git will ask you a question, apple or banana, and you have to manually resolve this Git conflict, which will be shown in the next few slides. So this is what you do. First step, abort the merge using git merge dash abort. That means you cancel the merging operation that you're going to do, and you come back to your file, manually fix this conflict, maybe name all of them as apple or just discard one. Then you use a merge two. There are a number of them out of there. You can redo your git merge again, and it will be merged successfully. Great. And then graphing merge history. So you can graph your merge history, how you added two different merged two different branches by using git log dash graph this command to see your merging history. Yes. And then we have some number of tips to reduce the merge pain. That is, try to keep your code keep your code small, the commit small and focused. As I said earlier before, if you do a large chunk of merging or committing, you might have a lot of merging conflicts, which would be really a pain in the ass. So try to keep your commit small and focused. So right now we are going to jump into GitHub, and I wanted to ask a question to the attendees. So when we talk about Git and GitHub, I believe you guys now know that they are different. Yes or no in the chat session. Is Git similar to GitHub or is different? Yeah, yeah. The question is, do we is Git and GitHub the same thing or different? As I explained before. So Git, as you guys said earlier, is for version control. Yeah, very good. Yeah, Git is for version control, and GitHub is where we have our repo or online repo. And then GitHub is one of them, not necessarily GitHub. We have other places where we can create our online repo, but GitHub is most popularly used. Yes, very good. It's different. Lucky, lucky. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Lucky. Next, please. So GitHub is a platform for us to hold our Git code repositories, and it was launched in 2008. It's the most popular Git host. We have a number of them, as I said earlier on, not only GitHub, we have a number of them, but GitHub is very popular, actually the most popular, and it's always free to start, open source. Yep. So I can see it. Just visualize this local as your working PC right now, the PC that I'm using right now, and then your GitHub remote server, probably your GitHub repo or other places. Then as I'm working, I'll make git add all the new changes into the staging area. I do a git commit. This one will be committed into my repo. Then I'll do git merge. Maybe if I have another branch that is I'm contributing to as an open source, I want to do a git merge, and then from the other branch, the person will what's it called? It will be created as a pull request, and then the fourth branch it will be merging conflict will be resolved. Then the person can merge your code into the remote branch. And the same way flow coming down, we have git merge, merging from your own repo, then git checkout directly into your working directory. Okay, so it's always important to remember that sometimes we choose to place repo on GitHub as a centralized place, but it doesn't have to be on GitHub. As I said earlier, GitHub is one of the Git hosts. Yeah, so this is how the whole architecture of Git works by working on the central server. We have different local repositories working on one single repo, for instance, as open source project works. So we just have our local branch. By forking, we create a git push to our main branch, and our main branch to create a pull request to the master branch, that is the central server. Then a pull request will be generated. We merge the pull request into the remote branch. Yeah. Yes, open sorcerer. Yes. Okay, so to clone Git files to clone a project from GitHub into your local machine, we use git clone. But earlier on, we all knew that Glyton was being replaced with SSH keys. So we have a new way of also cloning that using by creating keys. But the traditional way is using git clone, and we add the URL of your Git repository. Yeah. Good. And this is the same way how it works. Okay, so how do I link my local repo to a remote repo? So to do that, we simply use the command git remote add and add alias or URL. So for instance, we can do git remote add origin, then you add the URL of your local repo to your remote repo. Yeah. And to know which remotes that you are linked to, simply use the command git remote. Okay, great. And to do a push to remote repository, we simply use git push. Local branch can be origin or master, then you add your branch name. Yeah. And then fetching from repo, that's git fetch remote repo name. So fetching, when you're fetching, it doesn't it doesn't create any merging conflict. You simply just fetch into your current local directory. But if you are doing a git pull, that's where the merge conflicts might arise. Then you have to resolve it manually before you do changes. So that's the one difference between git fetch and git pull. Yeah. So this is the graphical UI interface of GitHub, where you manage all your projects. And we have collaborators. For instance, open source projects, we have a number of collaborators working on that project. So you could be one of them to contribute to make your ideas to it. And collaborators always have different, what's it called, rank. That means that we have someone who can be able to push changes, someone who can be able to just see the files without doing anything. So this is where we get Google Developer Student Club LPU, our main repo is. And with, as you can see, yes, these are some of the projects that we had. And then with these projects, you can see the number of contributors listed on the below. Yes, yes, and we can manage access with them. That means this contributor have push access, merge access, and all those things, and some will only have maybe viewing access. Yeah, very good. As you can see here, we have write, maintain, and admin. Very good. Yes. Yes. So this is how you manage your GitHub collaborators or your project collaborators. Okay. Yes. And we have GitHub guest as well. We will soon start the live demo session of all these commands, as you might find it very lengthy, or maybe you want to see how it actually works. You want to see it in a live demo. We will simply we quickly jump into that. So git commit. So git commit -a is where you add a staging index, as I said, to your changes that you have made. And I've already showed you guys a good practice of maybe making a message to it. Yes, and then git log -1 line. That means to list all your history of changes in one single line. Yeah. And git diff as well. Check some of older commits and renaming, deleting branches, -m, -d. Yeah. And tagging. Yes. So all these ones will be demonstrated very soon in the live demo session. How do I see tags? Simply use the command git show tag _name. Very good. Okay, so finally we are here to demonstrate all these commands that we have shown to you guys. So I hope you guys will enjoy, and also we'll share a list of all the commands with you guys very soon, including this PPT, as some of you have requested. So I'll hand over to Samson to take up into this live demonstration of Git and GitHub. Thank you. Okay, hand over to you, Samson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samson. And I'm just going to present to you a live demonstration of how Git and GitHub works. Please, if you the chat session, if yes. Okay, so please, I'm currently sharing my screen. Please, if you can see my screen, just put a thumbs up for me to see that I can see my screen.
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay. So I'll jump straight into the code. So first of all, David said that GitHub is more of a distributed form of architecture. So there came many versions of Git or version control system, but what is currently used now is the Git that was developed by Linus Torvalds. So I'm just going to jump into like a short overview, a demonstration then.
yeah. Samson, kindly zoom in a little bit if you can.
This is my terminal. I'm using, and my current terminal is the bash. So if you are a great fan of, are good to go. So first of all, into my deck, it's folder. Let me say called learning kit, and I'll just see into it. I'm inside it, so let me just open
Samson,
our favorite.
can you zoom in a little bit the screen? It will be great.
All right,
Okay.
all right. Is the screen okay?
Can you use
Hello.
terminal?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So basically, to start Git, let me just close this thing. Yeah, and let me open my terminal. Yeah, so I'm going to just, David explained Git is more a project. So let's say we are all building a very big project, like we are building something like LP Live, or let's say LP Touch. There are so many features of the application. So in order to prevent issues from happening and to make sure that we can all contribute, that's why we have Git. So first of all, I'll take you through some of the basics of Git before. That command. Who knows the first command I will enter? Can I see it in the chat session to initialize a Git repo? Okay. So I'll first of all just type Git init. And what this command does is that it creates a folder called the .init where it manages. So this is where my local repository is. So when we say repository is not the, it can be the one, but a central repository is set up here in my current working directory, which is this folder called learning. So let me just create a file called, let's say, animation. Yeah. So now has access to the Git, to my file that I've created. You see that the Git will automatically pick it up, and I'm the one who is supposed to manage it. So first of all, let me say although I do Python, Golang, Dart, yeah. So I'll just work in Node.js or just JavaScript. So let me just say that in JavaScript, I create a variable called name and I assign David as David. Immediately I come here and I type git, see what happens. Git gives me a command, shows me a list of on-track items. So anyone that is not on track at all, Git will just let me know that commit any changes to that. So if I want to commit, it means that I will central repository. So when David was showing you the diagram, you could see that we have the repository, we have the. So now this code is currently my working directory, it's not in the repository. So before I in the repository, I need it. So staging is like where you put it, and before you commit, I'll put it in the staging area. So how do I put it in the staging area? I can just do git add, then I can put the name of the file. So git automatically in my. So now it is in the staging area. So if you are like a very popular person who uses VS Code, you could see that in my VS Code, can you all see it has moved from changes to state changes? Can you all see? If you can see, just give me a yes. And let me move on. So you can see that it has moved to changes. That means that it is now ready to be committed. And one thing about Git is that Git is secured. So what happens is that it creates a hash to prevent conflicts between our work, although it doesn't guarantee that there will not be any conflict. So when I'm committing, I'm putting the code into my repository. That's my central repository. So to do that, I just do git commit -m. Then I pass the message. So the message I want to pass into this, and mostly if you are a beginner, you just type, but if you're working on a project, to know that this is what you are dealing with, you basically just do, you just write a very good message like first commit. Yeah, then I just hit enter. So this has committed my file, and you could see that now there is no changes here. So if I come here and I type git log, you would see that I have one hash. So this was generated by the SHA-1 algorithm to point to my latest commit. So if I want to review this, I can just say, first of all, before I move into that, I would like to also take you through some basics, because I mostly like to explain. If you're a Linux person, if you have worked in the LE, you could see that it shows the list of all the files, folders in this current working directory. So one of it is the .git, which is a very hidden file. You get it? So me, I like to play around. So who knows what is there? Like, who has an idea of what is staying inside? CD into it. So to CD, I'll just do inside this file, this folder. So I just do ls-la. So when I do ls-la, you could see that there are like about 9 items here. And these 9 items are charged or keeps record of whatever I'm doing. So pointer, you could see that the head pointer is a file. So this means it's a directory when there's a D here, and this, if there's a dash, it means it's a file. And the popular way to open a file is just to do cat head. So let's see what is in head. So you could see that the head is pointing to the master. So David spoke about branches. So there are branches. So the purpose of branches is basically if you are working on a very big project, David might want to do the login screen, do the sign separate to conflict. We create currently by default Git and gives us the branch called master where our work is being pushed to. So this is where my current head is pointing. And I can also type, I can also open the config file. So if I open the config file, you could see that there is basically nothing in it. So later on, I'll add some of it, then you will see that it will point to you, get to see about the remote repository, the name of the remote repository, and all of that. So you could play around all of this and see like what we have within each of them. So now let me just go back and come to this current working directory. So the next thing I would like to show us is if you are working in a Git environment, one thing is that you are pushing a code. So most of the time you need to set up your username or your author name and all of that. So in order to set up, if I push a code to GitHub, they will email. So you put your email in this curly bracket. So anytime you are pushing a code to any repository, central repository, so if you are using Git and I name Samson, it's to show Samson if the app be the same in other popular platforms. So I've already configured this on my platform. There is no need. And another one to configure
Samson,
you can type
Samson, I guess a screen is not sharing. Yeah.
okay. Wait, let me reshare my okay. Is the screen visible now?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just
be fast for this. You have
okay.
to cover that OpenWorld API actually.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So if you can see my screen, let me just bring this here. File configuration. So when you set those ones, what it does is it makes your code available. So now there is another file for index.js. So index.js, I can put anything in it like username equals something. Okay. So if I type git status, you could see that this file is also not tracked. So I can add make it GSX. And let me just do this. Okay. So like this is the code to just write the login. And I type git status to. So how would we add it to the staging area? Can anyone just give me a guess how we add it to the staging area? The command I want to see. Okay, yeah. So David gave the perfect command. So you might initially you might want to do git add, then you add the name of the file like index and maybe login. You get it. You can do all of this, but in case if you want to add the whole file, you just do that. So if you want to commit the process, you get it. So I can just say git commit -m, then I put it second feature, then I just push. So this is all about just the basic fundamentals that we have. So if I now type you could see that now there are 2 commits, and the head is pointing to the last most commit. So it's like if you have studied data structures, so each of them point, mostly the head pointer is pointing to the latest commit. So view it like either a stack or a queue. That's how this is. So now then I'll try to do something popular called merging. So let me just, so to create a branch, you create a branch. So first of all, so you can see that currently we have only one branch called master. So I could create branch, then I put the name of the branch. So let me see log. Yeah, so now I have one branch called login. So if I do get branch, you could see that now there are 2 branches. We have login and we have master. You get it? So now let me say I'm on the login screen. So I decide to call the branch login. So in order to switch into that branch and start working, what I basically do is git checkout. Then I enter the name of the. So now you can see into the login branch. So if I type git branch,
Samson, keep the screen to like full screen or something because
okay,
it will be easy.
hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm currently on the login branch. So if you mostly use VS Code, VS Code will notify you here that you are now working on this branch. So I can just come here and just say that let new variable equals something. Then let me commit it. So I can just commit it and so there is another shortcut to prevent doing git add then git commit. So the popular shortcut is git commit dash a dash m. Then I put the message new variable in login screen. So what happens is that it has committed my new changes. So you will see that now this variable is here. But let's do something remarkable. Let me just move to the main branch. So as I said, to move to a branch, you just do a branch is called master. And I'm working on master. So I'll switch to master. So you could see that when I went to master, there is no login here. There is no new variable. There's nothing called new variable. So the thing is that we are keeping track of each of our changes. So the changes I made on the login branch is not available on the master branch. You get it? So in order to make it available on the master branch, what we do is we merge. So when you merge, it's like you are taking the in a particular branch. So I just type git, then I type the name of the branch. So now I'm on master, but I want to merge login. So I type git merge, then I put the login, the name of the branch. So if I hit enter, you would see that yeah, there is a new variable here called something under master. So it has merged my code. So you could see this. That's why you can see something here. So now something is now up to date. So you could see that a hash. It also gave me a name. So when you are merging, depending on what you are doing. So for me, I have seen basically 2 types of merge. But if you have worked on more advanced projects, there are a lot of merges that can happen. So one of them is the fast forward merge. So forward merge or the main branch, merge branch, the main branch, and that creates a new commit. But in the three-way merge, what happens is that let's say that you are working to login, worked on the someone was working on the main branch, person made a lot of changes. You could see that now the main is up to date with the login branch because it's in the main branch. So what now happens when you are trying to merge, it will create basically to be like 3 hashes. You need to merge the main branch, and the second one will be to merge the together as one branch. That's the beginning of so, and let me just move on. So let me change this variable to, let me see, yeah, so I change this variable to Kweku, and let me just commit this, git commit dash a dash m, and let me see, name change. So now let me switch to the second branch, which is git checkout login. I'm on the login screen, and you see that it's so let me change this login to the name to, and let me just commit it. So I commit these changes by the same command, change name in login. Yeah. So now this changes is state. So I'm going to demonstrate what a merge conflict is. Let me switch to my master branch. So git checkout the master. So I'm now on the master branch. So you could see that it gave you a message that merge login is not something we can merge. So it means that git can, it's because there is basically a conflict in our code. So it can merge. So we basically have to handle the merge on our own before Git will be able to merge the whole thing. So if you use VS Code has a way to help you handle merge conflicts and other stuff. So yeah. So last but not the least, let me just add something small. So like, let me say we have now worked on our local changes and we want to put the on a distributed or a central repository hosted online like GitHub. Basically, what we do is that we go on GitHub. Here, I'll go to my GitHub. Then I create a new branch, a new repository. And let me just make it public. Public means anyone at all can have access. So I just create the repository. Then by default, Git to help you in the process of initializing your repo. So let me just pick this command and just say that git branch. So now I have changed my main branch. My main branch is no more master again. So now my main branch is called main. That's what I called it. So this is the branch. This will create a branch or change the master to main and it will set it as. So if I type git branch, you see that now there is no master. Now it's pointing to main. So next, let me just add this command. So what this command does, it puts the URL of my repository. So if I want to push the code, GitHub will just push the code to this repository. And you could see that there is a name called origin. It's a very popular name. It doesn't mean you should keep it origin. So I can just call it any name. So let me just call it something branch, something. Let me just call it something. Yeah. So now my remote my changes, like the people I'm collaborating with, to see my changes. I just come here, dash you something main. So here you see I passed something. So something is the name of the gate value pair. So something maps to this. So if I say git push under this repository, it means push to this repository under this branch. So if I just push this, yeah, you push my code. So now anyone who is working on the code at all can see the changes here. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is the change. So you can see that my code is now available here. Then it created a hash. See the name it gave me, manages 1996. That is not the name of this one actually. That is the name I've set up using the git take global dash dash username. So that is the name you are seeing here. So I push this code. So you can create branches here. So like let me let me move on to the login. Then let me put some changes here. Let's see each one. Like hello. Oh, testing. So now let me commit my changes. Git commits dash a dash m. See ended to yeah. So what basically happened? My code is appended to the. I've added a new commit. I want to push the changes. So do I push the changes to the main branch or to the login branch? What do you think I should do? I want to see it in the comments. Push it to the main branch or to the login branch. I want to see. Okay, no comment is coming. So let me just move on. So if I want to push the code now, I'll basically enter the previous command. But now I don't call it main because I'm here logging. So I will just say login, colon login. So this will create a new branch in the repository, the remote repository, and push my code there. So if I push it like this, yeah, so now it has pushed the code from my local login branch to my remote login branch. So if I come here, you could see that there is a new there is a new branch called login. So it automatically creates and compare it with the main branch and merge it. So I'll leave the other parts of the session, the pull request and all of that to Hardik. He'll be coming in very soon. So then you can type the comments. So before you are able to create a pull request, you can see that there's a conflict. So GitHub cannot solve this problem. So I'll just go here. Let me just switch back git branch in, and let me just do git pull. Okay. The remote repository under login. Yeah. Okay, so it's basically pulled from there and it's merged my code. So you see that everything will now be up to date. So that will be all for this session. So move on to the next thing on our list. So okay, so I was doing a project and I was doing it for someone in my country. So what actually happened was that I was looking for a very easy API to use and to integrate it, but I realized that in the year 2020, the number of states in my country, they were changed. So I realized that the repository was not up to date. So I decided with some of the team members to create a repo or Python script and bring to me every it was and bring like all the information I need to straight. But I realized that it's not a good thing to do. See how open source. So I decided to collaborate with Suraj, David, and some other people in the team. So this is all about the OpenWorld API. So as you can see, Suraj is showing it on his screen. So it's basically to, let me say, get cities, country, states from the API. So the link is provided there. So if you open the API, you can see a live demonstration. So Suraj, if you can just click on any one of them, or then try it out. So if you execute, you see that it gets the list of and if you have to create this open source project, and it is so simple to contribute. If the only thing you want to do is to like just add data of a country, but if you want to improve, like let's say add currency and other stuff, you can go to our GitHub repo and just the code or what you have to share with us. So from here, I will hand over to Hardik for him to just how to contribute to this project. Thank you very much.
Hey all, so it's a very great session actually. So now I will give you a live demonstration how you can actually contribute to Open World API. Okay. So now you have got the idea what is Git and GitHub, and you also know what is Hacktoberfest. So let me first present my screen. Okay. So now you want to actually contribute to Hacktoberfest, right? So how will you proceed? That's the question. Okay, so I will actually give you a demonstration how you can contribute to Open World API. It is an project which is made by GDSC itself. So the first step that you have to do is simply fork this repo. As you can see on the top right corner here, you have to fork. Okay, what fork will do? It will create the same copy of this project in your account. So let me try. I have pressed. Then it will ask to which organization you want to make this copy. So I will choose my account, my own organization. So now you can see this. It's in my account and it is forked from GDSC Open World API. So that's all. Now you have forked the repository. So after forking, you want to do some changes, and so how you can do changes? There are two ways. You can directly do changes from GitHub UI itself, but we are the developers, so we will actually work with GitHub CLI. So the second step is to simply clone this repo. So I have gone here on the code button, and from here I have copied this URL. So now I'm back on my laptop desktop. I'm open the terminal here. Okay, so then I will write git clone, and you already know what is git clone. Git clone will simply copy the same project in my local machine. So I've added git clone the URL name. From here we have to copy this data. So now you can see this Open World API folder has been created on my desktop because I was in my desktop. So let me change the current directory from cd Open World API. So now I am inside this folder. And this is how actually we use terminal to work around the directories and all. So from here I will open this project or this directory in my VS Code, and how I will do it using this command code dot. So now I'm closing this terminal. Let me first zoom it. So as you can see, this is the same file structure that we have here. right? It's the same file structure that we have here. So we want to do changes and push it back to the GDSC account. So how we will do this? We will simply make changes in here and simply push it to our account. And from there, we will create the pull request. So let me give you a quickly demo of how we will do this. So firstly, it is a node a node and express project. So we will have to actually install all the node dependencies. So I am using npm I. So it will install all the packages that are required to work with this project. So as you can see, this folder has been created here, node underscore modules. Okay. So now what we are doing, we have to do some changes and we have to push those changes to GDSC account, and that's all about how we actually contribute to open source. So as you can see also here, I am on the main branch on the left bottom corner of VS Code. I am on the main branch. So first I will switch to the new branch. So how I will do it? I will do it using git checkout -b, the name of the branch. Let's take it to country, or maybe add feature. So this is the name of our branch. So see, now we are in the add slash feature branch. So now all the changes that we will do here will reflect in our account, and from there we will create a pull request, and to that we will join soon. So let's make some changes first of all. Okay. So so see, this is the country. First, let me give you a demo what actually this project is doing. So I'm running this project node1 index.js. So it is listening on port this 5200. So let's go to this port, localhost 5200. See, so here is the listening where all our this project is listening to us. So as you can see, if we do a get request on this URI, that is country slash get all, so it will give us all the things. So let me give a try it out, execute. So see, it has given me all the countries. If we are, since we are doing the get request on this URL, all right. And similarly, if we do, okay, so that's how actually this project is working, and similarly it is working for get all the with the code. So just a second, let me see what it is giving us. So it is giving us the country name and the code that is used in that country. So let's suppose we want to add one new feature, let it be the capital of this country. So what we will do, we will do some changes in our project. So here we are. See, this is the same thing that we are getting on here. If you are able to compare both the things, then these are the same. So what I am doing, I am creating one more field here named as capital. So can anyone tell me what is the capital of Afghanistan? Because I'm not aware of it. Please drop down your answer in the chat box. I'm watching it. Right, Kabul. Okay, let me copy it from. There are so many intelligent people in the house. So I have copied this Kabul here as the capital of Afghanistan. So this is already refreshed from here. So let me go back to the URI what we are getting previously, and let's try it again. Let's execute it again from where I can execute it again. Let's try it out. So see, now we are getting capital of Kabul, capital that is Kabul of Afghanistan. So that's how now we have added new feature to this project. So a similar way we can do for all the other countries. We can add their capitals. So let's suppose we are done with our changes that we want to do and the feature that we want to add. So I am creating one more terminal here, and first put all the changes that I have done. So before doing that thing, let me add this package.json in the gitignore file so that it will not affect anything. Gitignore, right? So what gitignore file will do, it will not track this file. It will not available in the tracking system of Git. So I've added this thing. Now let me do git add. So what git add dot has done, it is the changes that I have done now are in the commit history of Git. So let me exit into the Git commit history. So this is how we actually do it. So the change that we have done, we had added capital of Afghanistan. Okay. So now what we have done, we have just forked, till now what we have done, we have forked the repo, then we have cloned it and did some changes in it. And after that, the changes that we have done, we have put all those changes in the commit version control system of Git. Okay, so from there, actually, I think I will delete this file because this is will be there. Why it is coming a tracking system of Git again and again? Let me try so that it will not count in the tracking system of Git. Let me try. So it's not going. So let me delete it from. Okay, so I'm deleting this file because this will be there for everyone on their local system. So I've deleted that file. So I'm again adding these commits that I have done. Git add, and I will put git commit, and this time message will be not update the dot git ignore file. So we have updated this file in this commit. So it has been added. So what we will do now, after adding all these things into the commit history of Git, we will simply push it to our the local repository which is in our GitHub account. So git push origin. This is origin means we are the URL which is in our account to this branch add feature, because this branch we have just created. See, all these things are now will be updated here. See, now you're actually able to see that there is one option coming, compare and pull request. So what it will do, it will simply compare all the changes that we have pushed here in our account with the changes that are there in the DSC account. Okay, so let's do a pull request. What pull request means, we are simply requesting to the owner of the GDSC to pull our changes to their account that we have done because we have updated something we want to contribute. So let me give the message, pull request message. I have updated, I have not updated, I have added the capital of Afghanistan. Okay, and similarly you have to give the exact. Okay, so similarly you have to give the proper thing that you have done in the here in the message box. So it's that simple. Now we are able to, we can actually create the pull request to the GDSC account. So I have just created it. So see, now our pull request is visible on the GDSC account. So what would happen? Any one of the which have the access of this repository will merge my pull request in the GDSC account. So it's that simple, and he will also actually add the label Oktoberfest accepted here if the organization is accepting the Oktoberfest. So that's all. It's actually that simple. If you liked it, and you know. So the another question that I have seen before is that how to find the Oktoberfest label repository or the project. So simply you have to go in the search button here at the top left and search Oktoberfest in all GitHub. So see, all these repositories and the projects are labeled with Hacktoberfest. See here, labeled with Hacktoberfest. So you can contribute to them and create the pull request in a similar manner that we have created so fast. So it's very simple, and you can not only create in the terms of code and programming, you can also do a documentation part. It's open for everyone, right? So that's all. Actually, it's that simple how to create pull request and be the part of Hacktoberfest. So yes, now let's proceed with the presentation, I guess. Suraj.
Just presenting. So this Hardik has explained everything, right? So now you can see that we are as a owner of this account. Uh, we received that pull request, right? If you can see, let me turn cam as well. Yeah. So as you can see, we have received this pull request from Hardik.
Uh, I've
Yeah.
setted the changes for this pull request.
Yeah, that's right. So it's something like this. So whenever someone of you do any changes or make, so see, we are adding the label Hacktoberfest accepted. So in this manner, it will be tracked by the Digital Ocean team. So uh, like this, we have added this label, and that your contribution will be counted in that Hacktoberfest also. Just need 4 PRs, but make sure don't do such minor changes, right? You have to bring uh, write something long code, because what happened this year, they have added some restrictions, because it feels like as a spammy request, spammy PRs, by adding some little changes in some word or something. So don't do that. We will not accept that, but instead of that, you can come contribute, adding cities or states, data here in the files. You can update there, okay? So it's like that, you can update these things, or you can update your country profiles. So like that, you can take any country, I will suggest, and start adding like that, okay? So adding details of that country or something, so it will help us to create all countries data and gather that. Something like someone of you can take Bhutan and just fill in all the data like this in this format, so it will work. So that was some uh, demonstration of this open world API and all. And you can as I have shown you earlier, this is the visualization version of like how it is operating, and what things are going on at the back end, and you can see visualize that thing in this dashboard, you can see. Okay, so that was the today's agendas and everything. So we are now open for some Q&A, then we will wrap up the session very soon. If you have any questions, just let us know. Any questions or no? Should we wrap up? Uh, I think we should wrap up, right? No questions are coming. Okay then. Yeah, others you can contribute in any Oktoberfest, like any repos out there. It's not restricted to ours, but if you can help us by doing some PRs, then it will be great. more questions, else we will wrap up because it's too late, I guess, according to the timeline and all. Okay, then we are wrapping it off.